Okay, so my patient is Bruce Wayne. He's 65 years old, and he's presenting with right-sided low back pain that is radiating down into his butt cheek as well. From there, we have marked decreased lordosis, so we got a little bit of that kind of tucked tail position in his posture. We're lacking range of motion in terms of extension, so lumbar extension, and we're having issues with trunk strength, so both flexion and extension strength, along with general hip weakness. So what we're going to do to start, we're going to actually address some of the mobility issues first. So Bruce, what I'm going to have you do first is we're actually going to come on the table here. Now you don't have to move quite yet. I'm going to show you here first. But we're going to come down onto our hands and knees. I'm going to put my hands directly underneath my chest, my knees directly underneath my hips, about shoulder width apart. You don't want to get them in too tight. We also don't want to be real wide right now. So, we'll be right here. What I'm going to have you do is I want you to flex upwards as much as you can. Nice big stretch here. So I'm pushing away at the floor. I'm tucking my butt cheek underneath. I'm going to hold for about 5 seconds, and then I'm going to let it out. Now I'm going to let it come to neutral. Now in this next part, we're going to go into a camel. And so I'm going to let my spine depress. Now right here we may get some pain, okay? So I want you to stop before we get to pain. We're going to hold that, and then we'll go back to the cat position. So we're going to go cat, and then we're going to go camel. Only as much as you can do on the camel portion, okay? Before we get to pain or anything like that. So what I'm going to have you do, we'll go ahead and we're going to start with that. We're going to start with about 5 reps in each spot with about a 5-second hold. From there, we're going to bump up the time, okay? So go ahead, we're going to put our hands and knees up on the table. Good, so hands just underneath the chest. And let's start with the cat first. So coming all the way up. There we go. And really feeling those glutes kind of squeeze when you get there towards the end. After 5 seconds, there we go, we're going to let it out. And now we're going to let it depress into the camel only as much as we can without pain. There we go, good. How is that feeling? Excellent. And we'll come all the way up. And we'll do one more rep each, just for the sake of the camera here. And just make sure that as we're going, we're breathing through it, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good, right there. So that's going to be the exercise. I want you to do it 5 each way normally. We're going to do that anywhere between 1 to 3 times, or 1 to 3 sets of it each session. Now with this exercise, we're going to do it between 1 to 3 sets a session. And actually, we can do multiple sessions throughout the day depending on pain level. Just remember that when we're going for that camel portion, we don't want to go into pain. We want to stop just before it and just kind of work on getting a little bit of increased range of motion each time. But yeah, no pain as we go through. All right, so for our next exercise, you can actually lay on your back here. So we're gonna flip all the way over. And can you see me okay if I lay down right here? Mm-hmm. Okay, so for our next one, what we're gonna do some pelvic tilts. We're gonna lay on the back, feet flat on the floor here to start. And what I want you to do is I want you to flex your hips. So you're gonna pull your hips towards your face as you're going. I'm gonna go there first. I'm gonna relax, and then I'm gonna arch into my back a little bit here. Now, this is also gonna be one where we need to watch that arch. So as you go through, we don't wanna make sure there's no pain as we go into that kind of anterior tilt, creating an arch, okay? So, to recap again, I'm going to tuck my tail underneath, so almost pulling myself towards my face, and then I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna kind of pull my butt down into the floor, trying to pull my shoulder blades and my butt together, and then we'll relax, okay? Now with this exercise, we're just gonna go nice and slow, making sure we're focused on not getting into pain when we go into that anterior tilt. Just focus on kind of flossing the movement here, okay? Good, so feel that tail tuck. Now you don't actually have to leave the floor or leave the bench. All we're gonna do is we're just gonna tuck tail, relax, and then pull the shoulder blades towards your spine. or excuse me, your glutes to your shoulder blades. Good, how's that feel? Good. So we're gonna go at least 15 reps each way here. We can definitely increase the reps as we go, as long as there's no pain. Excellent, excellent. So as I said, we're using this to just kind of work on your ability to control your pelvis and also increase the mobility that you have in your lumbar spine, okay? Now, from there, what I'm gonna have you do next, we're gonna lay on the back. I'm gonna have you hold onto this band. Now you're gonna pull some tension into the band here. I'm then gonna have you bring your knees up to about a 90-degree position. Now I'm gonna help put you in the right spot, so don't worry too much about that. But we're gonna pull into the band, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to extend the leg. We're not gonna go very far, we're just gonna go real slow, and I'm gonna stop right about there, and I'm gonna come back. Now I'm stopping before my pelvis tries to move, so before my hips try to move. So right there, I'm gonna start losing my position, and I'm gonna come back. Nice and slow each and every rep. Really controlling the lower end of that leg, okay? We're gonna start with just 5 reps apiece, just to get used to it, real slow motion. We're gonna quickly bump that up that number. Now, with this, just like the exercises before it, we're gonna do between 1 to 3 sets, and we're going to increase the reps if possible. But we're gonna start with a low number just to make sure it's okay. So, we're gonna do this now, and then what I'd like to do is bring your feet up, and make sure there's no pain involved holding your legs here, okay? Good right there? Okay, what I want you to do is you're gonna straighten this leg first. So go ahead and straighten it out. So I'm gonna leave my hand here, straighten out, and then we're gonna lower, okay? So nice and straight here first, and then we're gonna lower the whole leg together. Right there. And we wanna stop before we feel that pelvis move here, okay? So stop right there, and then you're just gonna bring it back to you, bending the knee. So I'm gonna let you try it on that other leg now. Nice straight, nice and slow down. Good, and bring it back, nice. I'm gonna have you straighten your arms out here, pull tension hard. That's just gonna hold your spine in a good position, and we're gonna go ahead and go again. Nice and slow on the way down. And as I said, we'll do 5 each leg to start with real slow tempo, but we're gonna quickly build the volume here. So we're gonna go all the way up to 10 to 15 reps each eventually. And that's gonna be it right there. So you can go ahead and relax. So that's going to be our beginning phase, so phase 1. So Bruce, just to recap, in our phase 1, we're going to do 1 to 3 sets of all 3 of those exercises. We're going to do that anywhere between 3 all the way up to 7 days a week, depending on your pain levels and depending on how things are feeling. Those stink bugs we were doing at the end there, we'll probably do those just 3 times a week, okay? Now we're going to advance to our second stage. With this second stage, we're going to start introducing some more functional movements here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a multi-box squat. So at first, we're going to start with that big one. I'm going to show on one of the smaller ones here just to be an example, but we're going to put the band around the knees here. And then what I want you to do is we're going to set ourselves up near the box, feet about shoulder width. We're going to push the knees into the band. Now I want to make sure I don't roll the outside parts of my feet. I'm going to put my big toe in the floor, knees into the band. I'm going to hold myself nice and tight here. So kind of like that same position I was doing with the stink bugs, I'm going to keep my abs kind of tight, and I'm going to control my pelvis. So what I don't want to do is just spill my pelvis out one way or tuck underneath. I want to hold real tight. So I don't want to spill forward. I also don't want to tuck underneath too far. So from this position, I'm gonna hold that nice neutral spine. You'll see me kind of do those tilts that we were doing before, just to find that neutral position. And then from there, I'm going to squat into the box. Now, this one I'm showing you on is very low. We'll eventually work to that. We're gonna start with that higher box there. So you can stop as soon as your butt hits the box, okay? So, with this one, we're doing this between 2 to 3 sets, and we're gonna go all the way up to about 15 reps. We're gonna start as low as about 10, and we're gonna build up real high. Now this is gonna work on your ability to hold that pelvis in position as we're going through this squat. So I want you to tighten up, think nice and tight through our abs here, And I want you to be able to talk as you go. So make sure you're not flexing so hard that you can't talk. Just keep a little bit of tension, keeping that belly button kind of pulled back towards you. And we're gonna pull ourselves down into the squat. Now this first one's gonna be real high, so we're just gonna stop. Good, right there. Now you're doing a great job keeping that pelvis in position. So go ahead, we're gonna continue our reps here. So let's do about 3 more. Excellent. So here Bruce is showing a great job of being able to hit the box and keep the pelvis in position as we do so. So Bruce, what I'd like you to do is you're gonna scoot over just a little bit. We're gonna head to the smaller box. We're gonna do the exact same thing, just obviously this is gonna be a little lower. So you need to keep that tension, keep that level of focus as you were going last time. So we're gonna go down into it whenever you're ready. Good, found that neutral position. Keep the body tight, sitting those hips back towards the box. Excellent. Good, way to keep the tension in the band too. So, we've moved down the box. Same rep range applies. We want to get up to about 15 plus reps here, where we start feeling fatigue. Now, if Bruce can get 15 plus reps for 3 sets, then what we're going to do is we're going to move to the lowest box here. But we can either progress or regress our position depending on how the back is feeling. All right, so Bruce, you can go ahead and sit down and take the band off. So for our next exercise, we're actually going to come down to the turf here. I'm going to put my hands and my knees in the same position as I was for the cat camels. So my hands are underneath my chest, my knees are underneath my feet, or excuse me, my knees are underneath my hips. Now, from this position, what I'm going to have you do is I'm actually going to have you extend your right leg. So I'm going to extend it out here. I'm going to keep the body really tight, lots of pressure through my arms pushing through the floor. And all I want you to do here is try to lift that right leg. And then we're going to relax. Lift the right leg. We're going to go for 10 reps on that. 8 to 12 reps. Anywhere in that area is going to be good. And we're going to try to do 2 to 3 sets of it. And then obviously we'd switch to our other leg. We're going to get the left one as well. And the same thing. Just making sure we're trying to get that leg up to a parallel position. That's our first step as we go on. Now, to add a little bit of difficulty, once we kind of master that first part, we're going to start adding in an opposite arm movement. So keeping the body real tight, we're going to extend that leg, we're going to lift the arm and the leg at the same time. Focusing on my lat here on my left side and my glute on my right side. And I'm going to switch right to there. Same thing, we're going between 8 to 12 reps on each leg. Now, with that, we can bump the reps up to 15, even 20 apiece if needed. If we can get all the way up in that area though, we're gonna start introducing weight and we'll bring the reps back down to about 8 to 12 again with resistance. So, go ahead, come on down. Good, so hands underneath the chest, knees underneath your hips. Bring your hips back just a little bit for me here, right there. Find that good neutral position. Make sure we're not, yep, good. That's the spot we want to be in. Now I'm going to have you extend that right leg out. Excellent. Any pain as we're there? All right. Now we're going to try to lift just that right leg. Feel that glute going. Make sure we're feeling that pressure. Good hold and bring it down. So each rep, just like that, you're going to want about a 2-second hold as you go through. So go ahead, we'll do another rep here. Good. We're getting great extension through here. You're also doing a great job of not letting the hips rotate. We don't want the hips to rotate all over the place. We want to stay real firm, real solid, okay? All right. Now I'm going to have you try that more advanced version now. We'll go to that full-on bird dog. So actually bring that hand out too. So we'll bring the hand out from underneath on this one. There we go. Good. Bring it back. Now that one's a little more challenging. We're starting to move a little bit, so we may have to move back to our original one first. But we're going to work through those progressions as we go. That's going to be our phase 2. We're going to do this about 3 times a week. And we want to make sure we're adjusting the reps and sets accordingly to make sure we're challenging the patient enough. Okay, Bruce, so now we're on our last phase of rehab here. So what we're going to have set up here is we're actually going to work on a kettlebell deadlift. Now, I have 3 varying heights, and what we're going to do is we're going to progress from the highest box here down to the lowest, which is eventually going to be the floor here, to really help with you picking up these heavy things off the floor. Now, with this first one, I'm going to kind of jump in front of you here. What we're going to do is we're going to lift the kettlebell up off the floor. What I want you to focus on is, as we do this, we're going to get a nice kind of wide stance here. I want you to find that neutral pelvis. So make sure I'm not overarching here and I'm not tucking way under for this. I want you to find those limits. We're going to find that neutral pelvis. I'm going to keep the abs nice and tight through here. So I'm thinking about pulling that belly button towards my spine. But notice I can do that, so I'm tightening up, but I can still talk regularly. I'm still in a good position here. So I'm going to create tension. I want you to sit your hips down just like we were doing those squats before. I want you to feel yourself sitting the hips back as I keep everything locked in position. I'm going to grab, I'm going to have you pull your shoulders back, keeping tension through the body. I'm going to drive upwards to a standing position, keeping that pelvis in a good position as we go. I'm going to come back down, nice and slow, under control, okay? So I don't want you just to drop and let the weight take you. You're going to be in control both going up and going down. With this exercise, we're going to do between 8 and 12 reps with this weight, okay? Now, if we can get all the way to 12 reps with this weight, we are then going to take this weight and we're going to put it lower. We're going to go 12 reps on the next lowest one, and then subsequently, if we can get 12 reps there, we're going to go to our next lowest one and get 12 reps there. And if we can get 12 reps there, we're going all the way to the floor. If we get another 12 reps with this weight on the floor, then we're going to up the weight, okay? Until we get it down to that 8 rep range. So go ahead, I'm going to have you jump in front here. You can actually get just facing this way. We'll just rotate that weight when we get down there. There we go. All right, now take a little bit of a step forward. We're going to put that kettlebell handle right between your legs here, right in the middle of your feet. All right, so there you go. Find your neutral position. Good. Now I'm going to have you tighten up. Focus on pulling that belly button in towards your spine. And we're going to sit back down for the weight. Good. Nice controlled movement down for it. Grab the weight, tighten up the shoulders. Next position, and driving through. Good. And then we're going to come down nice and slow. Great work with the pelvis. Excellent job. So that's 1 rep. We go all the way up to 12 before we switch down to the next lowest. And as I said before, we're going to progressively move down until we're picking it up straight off the floor. Once we get there, then we'll start increasing weight. Now, for our second exercise here, I'm going to grab the table, and we're going to do what's called a reverse hyper extension. So, with a reverse hyper extension, we can use really any bed, table, anything where you can really support your weight up on the table, and we're going to let the hips hang off the edge. So in this case, I'm going to leave my hips hanging off the edge. I'm going to grab underneath the table here so I'm stabilized. I'm going to start with my toes pulled towards my shins and nice long legs. So I'm actually flexing my quads to kind of straighten the legs out. I'm going to squeeze through my glutes and down. Little pauses, kind of like the bird dogs we did last time. We're going to go 2-second pauses each rep. Right through there. So each and every time, we're going to go through there. Now, we can do some other variations as we go through. If you're having a hard time with this, in terms of, let's say the table wasn't high enough, I can also bend my knees and I can go with more of a donkey kick. That'll accomplish the same thing that we're looking for, okay? So, go ahead, come on up. And we're going to go about 10 to 15 reps here. The reason I want to do the 15 is if we can get all the way up there, we're going to start adding resistance to this. Let's go. Nice long legs from there. Good. And bring your feet together, actually. There we go. And I want you to focus on pulling through your glutes here, okay? So go ahead. We're going to pull up. Nice. Good. We're getting good glutes. We can see his erectors having to work through there as well to hold position. So go ahead. Excellent. Now, if we can get all the way up to that about 15 rep mark, we're going to bring the reps back down to 10. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce some resistance. So what you'll feel is my hand on the backs of your heels here. to add some resistance, okay? So go ahead whenever you're ready. Good, should feel a little harder, right? Okay, and then nice and slow down. And we'll do it again. Right through there. Now, if I didn't want to hold them each and every rep, I can also use ankle weights around there to make this a little more challenging and really push the issue. So, with these two exercises, the deadlifts and the reverse hypers, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 3 sets a week, we're gonna do 3 sets every session. We're gonna do 3 sessions a week, leaving about 1 day in between to rest. But yeah, that'll be our phase 3. Yeah, good job. You can come up.